All right, I don't want to freak anybody out here, but some of you, half of you, have actually finished the last quiz for Chapter 4 already. And as I said in the notes, we're going to skip Chapter 5 because it's just about inequalities, and I feel like if you're super interested in it, you can have a look, but it's not a big deal. So, Chapter 6, however, is a very big deal, especially if you are heading into Pre-Cal 12 at some point. So, it is trigonometry. Now, the Get Started activity actually just gives us a question that's like one of those regular trigonometry questions that you looked at when you were back in grade 8. Not sure about 9, but definitely 10. And it just tells you that there's a little, this is where the tracking ray comes out of. There's a little tracking ray, and it's going blip, 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 blip around a radius kind of thing, looking for aircraft. You've seen them in the movies, I'm sure. And they say that they've actually encountered an aircraft, A, and it's 50 kilometers from east and 100 kilometers out from where the ray is. So it gives you this kind of setup as to where it is. And what you should note is that we have a right angle triangle and we have a hypotenuse. So if we want to know the distance, so the question is to the nearest kilometer, what's the distance between the aircraft and the radar antenna? So this isn't even dealing with angles yet. They're really easing you into this whole thing. So what they're looking at is Pythagorean theorem. What's the Pythagorean theorem, you say? No, of course you didn't say that because you already know, but I'll write it out anyway. The Pythagorean theorem is that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse. So doesn't really matter which one I assign to A or B because they're just the legs, so we can go those ones are A and B, and they're going to make C when I run them through this formula. Let's run them through and see what happens. 100 squared plus 50 squared equals C squared. So 100 squared is just extra zeros. 50 squared, 25, a couple extra zeros. I add those up. I better use my calculator just to make sure I don't muck up. 100 squared plus 50 squared equals, yay, I was right. So that becomes 12500. 12,500. So what I want to do now, though, that equals c squared. So I'm going to have to take the square root of it to solve it, aren't I? Square root, I'm even going to cheat and use the answer button, is approximately 112 kilometers for c. So we want to write 112 on here, and then just as a quick check at the end, we want to make sure that our answer is reasonable, and so we would look at, this is 100, this is 50, that's 112. Does that seem reasonable? Well, 112 is the longest side, the hypotenuse has to be the longest side, and it's within range of these guys, so it looks like this is kind of a low angle, so it should be a slightly more than 100, which it is. So we can be fairly confident that we've done it right.